Hi everybody. I look like a mess. Apologies. I didn't look that much of a mess. Good enough, right? Good enough. So today we're gonna be reading Imprisoned Maxi / Tim X Listener. Oh my gosh. Last time we got a little interesting, you know what I'm saying? So let's continue and figure out what actually is going on. Cause I kinda got confused, not gonna lie. And the reason I sound like this kind of right now is because I watch this sad TikTok. So, yeah. Okay. Anyways, that's not important. Let's get straight to the story. All right, y'all. So we is in chapter 3. Sitting on a stone nearby, she thought over everything that just happened. With shaking hands, she nervously pulled out a cigarette, placing it between her lips, fumbling a bit with the lighter before getting a good flame out of it, blocking the wind from putting out her little flame with her hand so she could light her lovely cancer stick. Once it was lit, she took a deep breath, inhaling as much cancer smoke as she could without coughing violently. Coughing death. It seemed to calm her down a bit, blowing out the deadly smoke as well as her worries. She knew those things were slowly killing her. Even every smoker knew that, but it was just so calming, so enjoyable. Okay, man. Okay, something was in that tunnel that scared the shit out of those two grown men. Those men probably know who the killer is and maybe where he is. Talking to herself was a habit of hers. It helped her make sense of situations she didn't really understand. She took a deep breath of her cigarette, or of her cancer stick, apologies, before trying to remember every tiny detail of the past events. Wait, I heard a name. No, Jerry? Okay, now you're just going off cartoons. Tim? Yeah, Tim sounds correct. She had a name, so she had a lead. At least, she got a lead. Whatever. She's just experienced back there. Whatever she just experienced back there, she never wanted to experience again. She felt abused. Her feelings felt abused. Something was playing with her fear and she didn't like it. Not one bit. Ryan couldn't remember the last time she really cried. So it was the shocker that when she started doing so because of nothing. Was she just sad? What could she be sad about? Sure, there was a lot of things to cry about, but not while you're in danger, right? Sad, unpleasant feelings started to form in her chest. Okay, she really didn't like where this was going. A long puff from the cancer stick. Oh, look, they actually wrote it down here. Cancer stick helped her get her mind off depressing things. Bruh, I think the author read my mind. Or they're just watching this video. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Me, being the god I am. Oh my gosh. I predicted the future. Oh my goodness. I feel amazing. She didn't have time to mope around. Something weird was going on, and two men could be in danger because of it. Girl, if two grown men ran out of there like babies, what made you think I'm gonna step in there? Shit. I'll get Mr. Stick to help. This could be her chance to find an adventure she'll never forget. Can't tell if that's a good thing or bad thing. For now, she just had to figure out who Tim was. Tim was a very popular name, but maybe... Oh, excuse me. So it'd be a pain to find him. But maybe if she's lucky enough, Harold could know him. After all, he seemed very familiar to her, so he could be a local, and Harold knew everybody in town. That dude better be okay. She'll never forgive herself if they find a body dead near the tunnel, where she froze and stood by her while someone could have been dying. She wanted to blame her inability to do anything on fear, but deep down inside, she knew she was just trying to save herself. I mean, when there's no crime in your city and this is the first thing you see, I mean, that's a reasonable reaction. Yeah. Her shaking got worse as she was now basically sucking the cancer stick, begging for it to make her feel better. The constant inhale of smoke messed with her lungs, starting to cough, which made her start to cough violently. Smoke escaped her mouth and nose as she continued coughing, her coughing fit not being able to stop. Drool hung from her lips as the coughing finally started to disappear. Wiping it off with her sleeve, she really needed to stop smoking this fast. Such coughing fits can have been happening more frequently because of it. Sorry, y'all. Interruptions. Anyway, where we at? Okay. So slowly she got up from the rock, throwing the finished cigarette. Girl, you better throw that properly in an ashtray or trash can. How dare you? How dare you? You can ruin your body for all I care, but don't ruin the earth, man. Jeez. Like, jeez. Goodness. Anyway, the finished cigarette on the floor, putting it out with her heavy boots. Hiding her shaking hands in her jacket pockets, she slowly made her way through the tunnel, inspecting the floor closely for any hints of anything. Nothing. The tunnel was completely empty. Just wet moss and tiny puddles decorated the floor, making it look like a regular abandoned tunnel. If she hadn't experienced what she just experienced earlier, she would have never guessed it would be unordinary. It was just a little reminder that you would never really know the truth behind anything at all. The simplest stuff have the biggest meaning. How many more weird stuff have been sprinkled all over town? Well, she could probably find more if she found Tim. Wine sped up, walking faster towards the other end of the tunnel. Nothing happened, even after she exited and crossed that annoying rock-filled ditch. It just turned into a normal tunnel. Good thing she remembered the way back to the parking. Well, she did follow a path to get there, so she just had to follow it again, and sooner or later she will find it. The sun was already starting to set, really surprising Ryan. Had she been out for so long? It couldn't be. Well, there was no point in doubting Mother Nature, as she just did whatever she wanted to do, which is kick you in the ass for putting that in the floor. Okay, anyway. Wyan followed the path, not wanting to get lost in this creepy woods. Following the trail led her back to the parking. The friendly police car waited for her patiently. What a nice car. A smile of relief formed on her lips as she unlocked the car, getting in as fast as possible. Once she finally sat in the comfortable leather seat, did she notice how much her head was hurting. It definitely wasn't out of the ordinary. Headaches were almost always lurking around her, but this one felt kind of different. Almost like it was fogging up her mind and making her shake her head violently, trying to snap out of it. Turns out shaking your head while having a headache wasn't the best idea, as it just made it hurt more. Wincing a bit, she slowly massaged her temples. Feeling safe enough to drive, she started the car, feeling the engine roar to life underneath her. She loved new fancy cars. The car ride made her feel a little better. She turned on the radio, draining out her thoughts a little bit. She'll need to think later on, but she just needed some time by herself. Slowly, she started to sway with the beat, losing herself in the music. Still paying attention to the streets, of course. As a cop, she was basically forced to follow each and every law. She was supposed to be an example for all those supposed drunk drivers they had in town. Sadly, the car ride wasn't long, finding herself back in the garage where she started. Getting out of the car, taking the file with her, slamming the door shut and locking it, walking towards the front desk. Martin still sat at the desk, now playing with some sort of hockey ball. Some kid probably lost it in the station. Martin would find everything that people left behind. It kept him entertained. Wyan placed the keys on the desk, walking away, immediately going through the familiar metal detector again. "Thank you," Martin called after her. Wyan was too focused on one thing right now to hear him. Talking to Harold. Walking towards her desk, she spotted Harold staring at a black screen. He probably ran out of stuff to watch. Slowly, she came up behind him, placing her shaking hands on his shoulder. A bit confused, Harold looked over at her over his shoulder, smiling when he spotted her. His smile disappearing quickly when he noticed her beaten up appearance. "You look like shit. What happened to you out there?" Harold was concerned but also secretly amused. He turned his office chair around to face her directly. His concern showed more wrinkles on his face. "Stop acting concerned. It makes you look old." Wyatt mocked him, trying to pat down her messed up hair. Then it fell on her desk. Want to go for a smoke? She asked him, holding up her lighter dangling in front of him. Sure, why not? Slowly, he got out of his old chair, following Wyatt back to the entrance. The back entrance's door was locked with a code which every police officer, if they didn't forget, knew. Wyatt had a weak memory, but she could remember the most important stuff, never once forgetting the code. However, Harold seemed to never remember it, even after the thousands of times he watched her put it in. It probably just wasn't valuable information to him. Harold stood by as Wyatt opened the door, letting them out to a little back alleyway. Boxes of trash were sloppily lined up on the wall, a bit of trash spilling on the floor. Sitting on the steps that led to the door, they both pulled out their preferred brand of cigarette, cancer sticks. Harold forgot his lighter, so Wyatt offered him hers. And only after both cancer sticks were lit and clouds of smoke were hanging in the air, surrounding them with the smell of tobacco, she relaxed completely. I have to ask you a question, Harold. Wyatt started tapping off the ashes of her cancer stick. About the case? Yeah, kinda. Do you know a person in town named Tim? She looked at Harold hopefully. He looked in deep thought. That little boy a grown man, probably like 27. She took a deep breath of her cancer stick, blowing out the smoke nicely. Harold thought a bit longer, scratching his chin with his free hand. It's okay if you... Timothy, right? He's probably 27 now, so it could be a match. Timothy Wright. That name did sound familiar. He was probably in high school with her. That's where she could have heard his name. Timothy, right, huh? It would be correct. Wyatt took another puff from her cigarette, looking at the plastic bottle on the floor. Could she have found him? Chapter 4. It was 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. Wyatt just arrived at her desk empty, morning coffee in hand. She felt terrible. Well, she always felt terrible in the morning, but today she felt extra terrible. It didn't help that she couldn't sleep last night due to some unexpected constant vomiting. It was so gross. Hungrily, not having eaten for a while, she stuffed gummy bears in her mouth. The overwhelming sweetness calming her hunger and soothing the painful headache. She had searched her entire house for ibuprofen, but for some reason they were all gone. Wyatt didn't question it. She probably went through all of them pretty fast. It was a surprise she wasn't addicted to them too by now. Hey, weren't you going to visit that Tim guy today? Hector asked, turning his chair towards her. Wyatt raised her head a bit, glaring at Hector before shoving another handful of gummy bears into her mouth. I needed a little break. I feel terrible. Her voice matched how she felt. Weak. Are you sure you're healthy? You absolutely look terrible. And I mean, worse than normal. Why don't you just go home and tell the boss that you're... No, I need to find Tim. He's the main and only lead I have in this case right now. Wyatt interrupted him, standing up hastily and putting on her brown jacket, not wanting to waste any more time. Do you know even where this mystery guy lives? Harold smirked at her evilly. Wyatt just smirked back. Luckily for me, my neighbors know where everyone in this town lives. Just like you, but a lot wiser. Wyatt waved at him smugly, slowly walking away. That old hag Samantha told you where she lives, huh? Where he lives, huh? Harold somehow didn't like anyone who had more knowledge about the town than him. You betcha. Wyatt answered, walking out of the office. She followed the same routine she did yesterday. Ask the boss for a car, get keys from Martin, enter the cold garage, and head off with the car. Tim lived in town, so it was only a 10-minute drive according to the built-in navigation system. She wished the car was longer, so she could the drive is longer, so she could rehearse all of the questions she will and have to ask him. The chances that he might not be home were really high. After what happened yesterday, she wasn't sure if he was okay. The thought that haunted her all night resurfaced, making her feel nervous. Great. Just what she needed. More nervousness to mess with her job. The car's navigation politely asked her to take one more turn before reaching her destination. Wyan, having no intentions to go anywhere else, followed the kind robot lady's instructions, soon to find a little house. So this is where Timothy Wright lived. The name still seemed so familiar. Parking the car on the side of the street, she got out of the car, locking the car behind her. She made sure she had her detective badge multiple times this morning. Something was making her forget the simplest things, checking everything twice, constantly doubting herself. Even now, she looked at if her car was really locked, pulling on the door handle, testing if everything was closed. Yes, it was locked, but was it really? She checked it once again. Okay, this time it was definitely locked. She turned away from the car, walking towards the door. The unsettling feeling of forgetting something made her feel anxious, turning around again. Did I really lock the car? She mumbled to herself, staring at the white police car. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Again? Remembering the 2 times she checked the car, she desperately tried to shake off that uneasy feeling. With a fast pace, she reached the front door, quickly trying to distract herself from the probably unlocked car. Ringing the doorbell with a high swirling sound could be heard from inside the house. Everything was quiet for a moment, nothing really happening. Oh god, maybe he was really dead. Suddenly, quiet steps could be heard before the lock on the door started to open. Wyan sighed in relief. He was okay. Who is it? A frightened, uncertain man stuck his head through the crack in the door, trying to see the person outside. Good morning, Mr. Wright. I'm Wyan Ellen. I'm a detective, and I would like to ask you a few questions for a case I'm working on, if you wouldn't mind. Tim seemed a bit nervous, shaking a bit. The police? Okay, now, come inside, I'll make you some coffee. He opened the door wide enough for a person to enter. Thank you very much, sir, but excuse me for a second. Why quickly this girl really said, just in case. Oh my god, just in case. Did you see me lock the door? Are you sure about that? Oh my goodness. Why quickly ran back to the car, pulling out the door. Yep, locked. She sent back to a confused Tim, giving him an apologetic smile, walking past him into the house. Tim shut the door behind her quickly, walking in front of her. This is the way to the living room. He led her through the little house, wine trailing close behind him. He was definitely a smoker. His whole house smelled like smoke. She wasn't judging him, though. Her room kind of smelled the same. Ugh, cancer sticks. Okay, it's not much, but please take a seat. I'll go get some coffee. Tim pointed towards a small sofa before walking off again. Wyan looked at her surroundings closely before actually sitting down. He didn't have the cleanest house, trash and other unknown objects littering the home. At least the sofa was nice and comfortable. I heard Tim came back into the room holding 2 big cups of steaming hot black coffee, handing her one. It's black. I didn't know if you'd like it with sugar and milk. His hands were shaking, making it seem like he'd spill the coffee any second. A bit paranoid, she grabbed the cup quickly to get it out of his shaking, unstable hand. This sofa was too nice to be ruined. Black's perfectly fine. Ugh. That's so nasty. Remind me of my teacher. Wyan took a long sip from the coffee. She had already had one like this a few minutes ago, but free coffee was too hard to turn down. That is your other addiction. Tim took a sip of his, allowing Wyan to really look at him. She needed to describe him for her case, so it was the perfect excuse to creepily watch him. Tim had a healthy build, not skinny, not fat, just a little bit bigger than normal. His height was probably at 5'6" inches, maybe even a little taller. Well-fitting sideburns framing his face, quite really bringing out his thick eyebrows. Small uneven stubble growing on his chin. Either he didn't shave or he did shave, but obviously shaking hands came in the way of doing it properly. His hair was brown, really dark brown, almost black and really messy. She kind of liked the ruffled up hair look. It made men look more human. What? What aliens have you been seeing? Anyways, Tim noticed her staring, making direct eye contact with her. For some reason, he didn't look away. He just stared at her. It didn't feel creepy at all. It almost felt like he was trying to tell her something that's been bothering him for a while. Wyan couldn't seem to look away either. His dark brown eyes really felt familiar to her. Like she looked at those exact same eyes a few times before. I'm sorry, but do I know you from somewhere? Wine couldn't hold back. She needed to know where she knew him from. You don't remember me? In high school? I was a year above you, remember? Wine just looked at him confused. She still couldn't remember him. Tim sighed nervously, tapping his cup, looking away from her. I was that weird guy who asked you to homecoming for that other weird guy, Jake Mickery. Tim laughed quite slightly, embarrassed by the memory nibbling at his chapped lips. Wine's face lit up, remembering that confusing moment. That was you? Oh my god, what a coincidence. She smiled brightly, laughing along with Tim, being careful not to spill her coffee. Yeah, that was me. Tim looked really embarrassed, blushing slightly, taking another sip from his coffee. Don't be embarrassed. What you did for him was cute. Was he your friend? Tim looked up at her, a surprised look on his friend. Me and Jake? Oh, hell no. I hated him and he hated me. I just did it because he promised he would leave me alone if I asked you for him. I don't remember it clearly, but I think I said yes. To be honest, I thought you were asking me and I kind of liked you and I said yes. You don't know how surprised I was when Jake approached me at homecoming, calling me his date. She smiled at the memory, even though her high school years weren't her favorite, and she'd rather not remember too much of that time. She was glad to remember that memory. Tim noticed her smile, making him smile himself. It was kind of nice to meet someone you once knew a long time ago, even if they only talked like 3 times. Okay, let's get back to the point. Wine took a deep breath, calming herself before getting serious. I need to ask you a few serious questions. Are you okay with that? Tim's smile faded, his grip on his white mug tightening. I'll try my best. Oh, goodness. What are we gonna have? We're gonna have some trouble? Chapter 5. Wine reached into her jacket pocket, pulling out a crumpled picture of the tunnel. She hadn't taken it out of her pocket in fear she might lose it. Trying to flatten out the picture, she stretched it lightly before showing it to Tim. Tim's eyes widened, all color fading from his face. His panicked look made her raise an eyebrow. Are you familiar with this location? Wine asked him, handing him the picture. She knew the answer, but she needed to know if he was going to play along and tell her the truth. Tim took his time staring at the picture with one hand while holding the coffee mug in the other. His shaking worsened, some drops of coffee spilling on the couch, staining it. Tim slowly handed back the picture, gripping the mug with both hands, now trying to steady his shaking. Yes, I know that place. It's in Rosewood Park. He mumbled nervously, sipping on his mug. Do you know what the supposed murder that happened about 2 years ago? Wine placed her coffee down on the floor, crossing her arms, leaning onto the couch. No, a lie. Have you visited that exact same location? No, another lie. He wasn't playing along, not like she wanted him to. Taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes briefly. Maybe she could try the brutal way of interrogation. Would that be too risky? That poor man already looked so shaken up. Should she really do this? Thinking over a bit, she decided to try it. She could figure out more this way and maybe even save him from something. His lies would get them nowhere. Taking a deep breath, once again, she started to speak in a more threatening tone. Look, Tim, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I saw you. Tim looked at her with a shocked but terrified expression on his face. More coffee spilled out of his mug violently, shaking, not seeming to stop. I saw you with that other guy. I also heard you talking maybe about the victim. Wyan knew what she was doing was unprofessional, but somehow she had the feeling she wouldn't get anything out of him without telling him exactly what she saw. Tim's shaking did worry her, but she was too, whatever, to keep going. I heard you guys scream as well. The other guy running away from something that I couldn't really see. Then I noticed you didn't come out, and I ran after you, but you disappeared. Were you stalking us? Tim stood up, mug slowly in hand, slowly backing away from the couch. Are you with him? Am I with who? Wine slowly stood up, as well as approaching Tim carefully. With Alex, with that thing. Tim kept backing up, not wanting her near to reach him. Who's Alex? This was definitely the weirdest interrogation she had ever had. The pure fear and panic in his eyes. Wine felt bad for using this intense form of interrogation on him, but to be fair, he looked emotionally unstable in the beginning. She needed this information to help him. She wanted to help him. That was her job. This dude that keeps tormenting me and an old friend. Tim wasn't speaking clearly, probably too scared to think about his words, making it almost impossible to lie. Wyan was about to ask a new question as he suddenly fell down, spilling the coffee on the carpet floor, breaking the mug as well, coughing violently. Surprised by his sudden collapse, she rushed to his aid, not minding the puddle of coffee and glass she was kneeling in. His coughing didn't stop as she pointed towards something. What do you need me to get? What do you need me to get? Wyan herself was not panicking, looking around the living room to see anything that might help him. In the basket, pills. He made it to croak before continuing the cough. Wyan spotted a basket on the other side of the room, rushing to get it. The basket was filled with orange pill bottles, some of which were empty. Finding a bottle with a few left, she ran back to the coughing Tim, fiddling with the cap, trying to open it before realizing it had a child safety mechanism. Pushing down the cap and then opening it, she handed it to Tim. Instantly, he popped 2 pills into his mouth at once, swallowing them without the help of water. His coughing seemed to die down, lying on the floor, covering his eyes with his hands. I'm so sorry for probably bringing up a horrible experience or memory. I should have just stayed with the original interrogation plan. Wyan felt terribly guilty, screwing the cap back on and putting the bottle, laying it beside him. Tim didn't say anything. He just laid there. After a few moments of silence and guilt, he finally spoke. I'll tell you everything. Tim mumbled, sitting up. Wyan's eyes widened in surprise. Was he just gonna tell everything? Just like that? Did this man have any common sense? No. Dude would just tell someone everything after having probably a violent, probably panic attack. Yeah, he was just gonna tell her? What an interesting man. You're just gonna tell me? Just like that? She still couldn't believe it, sitting in front of him, still kind of in the puddle of coffee, shards of glass stuck in her knees. Yeah, Toby's posting everything we do on the internet anyway, so it wouldn't be much if I tell you something a few hundred people already know. Tim mumbled, rubbing his head and looking at her tiredly. And besides, you were probably more affected by that short encounter in the tunnel than you think. He looked at her worryingly for some reason. Let me ask you something. Do those videos your friend posts involve murder or any other crimes? Wyan asked, raising an eyebrow in suspicion. Tim didn't answer. Instead, he just nodded and looked a little guilty. And you're telling me all those people have watched those little videos haven't contacted the police yet? Tim nodded once again. Wyan sighed in frustration. Do people really not trust the police officers? Yeah, pretty much, girl. Yeah. Do they not know that everything in those videos are real? Oh, goodness. I don't blame them. Everything in those tapes looks unbelievable. Tapes? Wyan was growing more confused yet curious at the same time. Yeah. Jay records everything. Like, everything. He even shoved a camera in my face when he came to find me. He keeps those videos on tapes. I think he has a bag full now. Tim explained, talking pretty fast, stuttering over a few words, still recovering from that coughing fit. Could I ask you who this Jay is? Tim was cooperative, a trait that every detective adores. She felt safe in asking him questions, almost fully believing his answers, until he answered her current question. He's an old college acquaintance who's probably hunting a demon right now, while probably also being followed by psychopaths who want to kill him. She honestly couldn't believe if he was joking or not, looking at him dumbfounded. Come again? You know what? Just look up Marble Hornets, and you'll find everything you need. Tim slowly stood up, holding out his hand for Wyan. Grabbing his hand, without much thought, she herself stood up, noticing how wet her jeans had gotten. Looking down at her pants, she sighed in annoyance, noticing the big coffee stain mixing with a bit of blood. Tim looked down as well, and also looking at his broken coffee mug and the shards of glass that were stuck in her legs. Holy crap, you're bleeding! He just stared at your legs, watching the blood drip, not really being able to fully process the situation. Yeah, I can deal with that when I am home. Now tell me about Marble Hornets. What does it mean? Her detective instincts didn't want to let down as she ignored the pain in her legs completely, looking at him desperate for answers. I don't really know what the name means exactly, but I do know that it was supposed to be for a college movie project. Now sit on the couch. I need to take the glass out of your leg. Tim tried to lead her to the couch, but Wyan was having none of it. She needed to know more. Who was the leader of said project? Is he one of those psychopaths? She was getting way too pushy, wobbling on her shaky legs, Tim having to support her. He still tried to get her to the couch, not saying anything. Wyan just kept on talking and asking questions until her injured legs couldn't take her own weight anymore. Her eyes widened as she realized she was automatically holding on to Tim. Not wanting to drop the hurt woman, he held her onto her hips, catching her quickly. Wyan looked up to Tim, shocked by her sudden fall, her hands gripping on his arms, tightly steadying her in even breaths. Alright, y'all, so mistakes have happened. Wyan looked at Tim, shocked by her sudden fall, her arms gripping on his arms tightly, steadying her in even breaths. She knew her face was really close to his, but she honestly didn't care. She was too shaken up to care. Will you now sit on the couch? He asked again politely, lifting her back up. I think I will. Alright, y'all, so that was quite interesting. Girl was really being pushy. Understandable, though, whenever this murder is 2 years old, you kind of gotta... And then all of a sudden, people are like, nah, bro, we ain't gonna report a murder. Peace. I mean, understand... Hi, everybody. So, sorry if you can't hear me too well. I don't have my microphone on me right now. It randomly stopped recording, so here I am recording for y'all. But that was very intense. I have questions. And before anyone asks what the Marble Hornets are, I believe y'all gonna have to look it up. I'm sorry. I don't know that much about Marble Hornets. All I know is that Tim/Masky came from it, and Hoodie as well, I think. And people have been wanting to separate Marble Hornets and creepypasta, but people just always combine them together. I think it's some type of like film type of stuff where people record like creepy stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna have to have someone who has more knowledge on that than I do. You will probably be able to look it up much easier. To be honest. But my questions are here for y'all. What do you think? Do you think Tim is involved with this? Do you think that his other friend is okay? And also, do you think that his friend will eventually get killed by the 3 psychopaths that I think are either Masky, Hoodie, and Toby? It might not be them, but there's still a chance, you know what I'm saying? Because you see them 3 the most, but we never ever know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What I think, I have no clue, to be honest. I have no clue, bro. I have no clue. But, I guess I can take an okay guess, I guess. Like, that's what I think so far is gonna happen. Or might happen. Who knows? I mean, I am a god after all. I predicted her words, bro. I predicted her using literal cancer sticks, fool. I'm a god. By the way, this is a friendly reminder to not do drugs. And to also not use cancer stick. They kill. Oh my god. Anyways. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more amazing videos, guys. I am crazily tired. I worked like crazy today. So probably more than my parents did, more than me. But, you know, I still helped out. You know what I'm saying? So, and also, by the way, I most likely won't be posting on a Sunday because it is my birthday this week, and I'm going to be celebrating it a day early, so we'll see how that goes. I will try and record and put as much, you know, stuff into one video as I can, so you guys can see all the pictures and all that stuff. I'll try my best. I will try. I can't guarantee. So we'll see how that goes. I might post that either on a Sunday or Saturday. I'm not sure. Probably on a Sunday, to be honest. How busy Saturday is gonna be. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, and we'll just see how everything goes. I'll try to post, but I'm gonna tell you probably not gonna be posting. So expect that. But yeah, at least I updated on Tim. Some people really wanted me to update on this, and I finally did. You're welcome. Anyways, yo girl got to go. Bye in peace, everybody.